Welcome back to Chapter 4 of Harriet's Survival Saga. I have to start off this video with a forewarning. I screwed up with the audio and didn't capture any sound, so I put in-game soundtracks to reflect the mood of the situation to fill the gaps of narration. I also forgot to rename Paul to one of my financial contributors. I won't screw those up twice. I hope. Last episode concluded with a heavily armed royal tribute collector defending our base from a small tribal raid and a couple thrumbos. On today's video, Harriet would like to progress the hydropower research and continue developing the base's interior. At 3 in the morning on the 6th of September, a slaver visits the colony. As the sun rises, Harriet first sets out to collect the chem fuel drop from the previous chapter. While she makes a second run to accrue the remaining chem fuel, Harriet gets a quest that could potentially take her off-world. It would require her to reach the rank of Count, then house and appease the High Stellarch for 12 days. He would be accompanied by 4 guardsmen, though their survival and appeasement is unnecessary to success. Harriet would need to defend against the Stellarch's unrelenting enemies. Our survivalist is a long ways from being able to complete this, so she will shelf this request for now. As for the slaver, Harriet is short on cash, so there's no real potential with this trade. Moments later, however, a shaman merchant also approaches the colony. Harriet tends to her rice fields while awaiting their arrival. Upon arrival, Harriet barters with the shaman. She had intended to keep the plasteel for future use, however illnesses have been a constant occurrence throughout this saga. So she sells them for the couple herbal meds the shaman has on hand. With the leftover silver, she returns to the slaver to purchase any meds she can afford with her remaining profit from the shaman's trade. With that taken care of, the protagonist sets herself to studying for hydropower. Harriet ends the day with some post-raid cleanup and rests for the night. On the 7th by 3 a.m., the last of the trade caravans leaves and Harriet finishes her queued tasks with some base maintenance. With the base tidied up, she studiously resumes her research. During her technological development, she is distracted by her meat stockpile. Not only will she need to butcher the second Thrumbo corpse soon, but she also has the first Thrumbo's tenderloins nearing decay. To make use of these and extending their shelf life, she cooks them into an excess stockpile of meals which should last several more days. The wood stockpile is also getting low, so she marks some trees for lumber. With 4 units of Thrumbo meat left, and no desire to see them go to waste, Harriet tries to satisfy her hunger with the raw meat. Unfortunately, the risk doesn't pay off, and she gets food poisoning. By nightfall, the protagonist hauls in chopped wood and goes to butcher the Thrumbo corpse. While moving back indoors, she gets a quest to kill 3 redirected groups of raiders, but with her current state of affairs, she won't risk any more than she needs to. With less than an hour to butcher the corpse, Harriet is cutting it rather close. With 8 seconds left on the body, she manages to harvest a lower yield than the last Thrumbo. Now, I'm not sure if the outcome is based on its rate of decay or on body parts that have been blown off during the fight, but either way, this Thrumbo only provides us with 1 horn, 22 fur, and 66 meat. Hours later, she gets another forced weather quest. If accepted, Harriet would be drenched in foggy rain for 7.8 days. As one may recall, fog dulls ranged accuracy and rain does the same, plus slows movement speed. Since the colony has hypergig, the bodybuilding unicorn, and security traps, Melee is going to be their preference, so these effects will hinder attackers more than the defenders. It will also extinguish any fire started by natural or man-made sources, which is invaluable in such dense, combustible vegetation. As for the rewards, Harriet was torn between gold and medicine. The hyperweave is nice, but it's not a game changer by any stretch of the imagination. She'll need gold in order to build the multi-analyzer. That's still pretty far off, and she needs to survive the months or years leading to that point, hence her decision to go with diplomatic relations, S-tier meds, and cash bonus. The Glitter World medicine will be saved for a rainy day, pun intended. As a side project, Harriet considers adding end tables and dressers to improve the resting conditions of the colony. Together, the two furniture additions would provide plus 0.1 comfort to a nearby bed. This will require a significant amount of wood, so the next day she channels her inner Paul Bunyan. While cleaving the jungle, Randy benevolently bestows Harriet with a psychic soothe. Before finishing her lumber harvest, Harriet is again gathering the cotton fields. By 1800 hours, she has garnered her 2 plant yields and constructs her bedroom supplements. Upon completion, the bed increased to a 0.85 comfort rating. Next up is our second colonist's bedroom. On the morning of the 10th, Harriet conducts a small test of her plant skill. She cuts one plant and harvests another. Plant cutting has no effect on her skill. However, plant harvesting does indeed increase her stats. Afterwards, she puts that plant skill to further use by resowing the cotton and gathering the rice fields. Shortly after, a bulk trader arrives on the scene. Before they can even make it to Harriet's doorstep, however, a call for safe haven arrives. 32-year-old warrior Jules McKeown offers to join the colony. Her only hope is to activate an electromagnetic interference to destroy her mechanoid opponents. She advises that this will affect our colony. Typically, with no information, Harriet would decline a potentially weak addition to the colony, but she has turned down so many lost souls that, for a change, she will shelter this one, since the consequences of losing electricity for a week when the colony has no electrical equipment is inconsequential. As a warrior, we already know that this newcomer is capable of fighting for the colony, so that's a start. And here's Jules. Good news from the get-go, she has a clean slate on the health tab. Her bio is also promising. She is capable of everything. As expected, she's a solid fighter, both in ranged and in slap boxing. The only concern is her very neurotic trait. It makes her 14% more susceptible to mental breaks. However, it seriously jacks up her global work speed by 40%. This is a good trade-off. She can manage her mood, which is made easier by her following masochistic trait. Where painful sensations exist, which are typical from combat injuries, certain illnesses, and scarring, she will get a mood boost. These also happen to be scenarios where she would be most vulnerable to a mental break due to her neuroticism. Will it be enough? Time will tell, but there's potential for those traits to cancel each other out, theoretically giving Jules a net gain in terms of work speed. Since the colony is now up to 3 colonists, it's time to build a 3rd bedroom. Harriet and Jules decide that it would also be in everyone's best interest to expand the bedrooms. In the interest of using space evenly, the rooms are extended to 5x3, which fits perfectly on the y-axis of the base. Before overcommitting to this renovation, Harriet barters with the bulk traders. She exchanges all the colony's excess leathers, note the thrombo and chinchilla furs selling exceptionally well, and the accidentally crafted tribal wear for all 6 of the traders' meds and 652 silver, bringing the total financial reserve to 837. Harriet and Jules lay in their cramped rooms one last time before beginning their remodeling project. By dawn of the 11th, Jules is leveling her crafting on her new attire while Harriet dedicates herself to construction. During their project, the two colonists discuss expanding the crops since there are 3 mouths to feed and bodies to dress. As the day passes, the extended crops are sown and the interior is cleared of building materials for the placement of the new floor plan. By nightfall, the walls and doors are erected and another lumber mission is staged for the flooring phase of the home improvement. Additionally, the urn decor is evenly distributed into each bedroom. Late that night, the two ladies head to sleep after a hard day's work. By the early afternoon of the 12th, the gals wrap up their lumber expedition and build a chess table to add diversity to their recreational activities. Hours later, they lay down the wood floors. During this time, Paul returns from entertaining the nobility abroad and admires the new chess table. With the social atmosphere now developing, one can observe how Jules is integrating. Naturally, she has only just met Paul, so they have no rapport, but she and Harriet have been chatting about makeup and joking about swimming. Late on the 12th, the colonists reevaluate their tasks. Since Paul is limited to nearly no consistent labor and has the most outstanding negotiation skills, he is designated as the primary warden, handler, hunter, stockpile manager, and janitor. The ladies of Pixie's dynasty will focus on the production. Seeing as both girls have low crafting, and Jules is the more passionate craftswoman, she will occupy that role. Considering Harriet has already begun leveling her cooking, growing, and intellectual skills, she will commit to those tasks. The females will maintain some overlap of important tasks such as construction and resource collection. With the colony thoroughly improved, the colonists all rest the night away. The following day, the remaining fertile soil around the base is allocated to rice fields. A large section of jungle is set to be deforested, and the defenses are overhauled, given that Randy's lengthy kindness begins concerning the residents of our expanding salon. After nightfall of that same day, the women finish sowing the latest rice fields, and Paul trains Hypergig with the temptations of rice. On Paul's re-entry, he compliments Harriet's cooking and, flattered, she flirts back with him. As the 13th of September comes to an end, a romantic relationship between our two initial colonists begins. At dawn of the 14th, Jules helps herself to breakfast, Paul hauls materials to the stockpile, and Harriet concludes the defensive improvements. A few hours later, Harriet and Paul get themselves a double bed so they can share a room. Not only will their time spent together give them significant mood boosts, but it will also save room usage within the base. After some minor adjustments, the southern bedroom is converted into a medical dormitory. That afternoon, while the girls continue felling trees, Paul carries the fresh lumber back to base. In passing, Harriet chats about hammers, howitzers, and makeup with her new boyfriend. When Paul goes to pick up Jules' lumber, he mentions his favorite haircuts. This conversation somehow turns into an exchange about pemmican and sweating. On the last morning of September, Jules is the first up and gets to work crafting short bows so each colonist can be equipped with a ranged weapon. Harriet and Paul wake up moments later to eat breakfast together. They will need to add seating around the dining table so no one gets the ate without a table mood debuff. At 8 o'clock, the hens are pecking away at the farm while the rooster carries everything indoors and trains Hypergig. Hours later, the rice collection is complete, and Harriet can resume her research while the others take some time to unwind. This is a beautiful spot to end this chapter in Harriet's story. Again, I apologize for my forgetfulness. The audio and renames will be here in the following chapter, I promise you this. As always, if you enjoyed this, drop a like. If you want to be notified of future chapters in series, subscribe. Read the video description for links to my series inspiration, Twitch livestream, Animal Rescue Instagram, and music credits. In the comments, let me know about your thoughts and reactions. As always, I hope you are safe, healthy, and fulfilled. I will see you on the next one.